Hello Skillr fans, today we are taking a look at Tyson Fury's style and we will be breaking down step by step the skills that had led him to be one of the most dominant heavyweights in boxing history. And at the end of the video, we will also take a look at how exactly Sugar Hill influenced his style. But before we start the breakdown, we just wanted to introduce you to our sponsor, Pro Boxing, a new all-in-one training platform that helps you develop into a complete fighter. Choose from dozens of training modules, design custom workouts, and drill new techniques systematically. Download Pro Boxing today and master the sweet science. Skillr fans can save 15% with the link below. Even though he has been in the game for a long time, his unorthodox movements and unique build makes him a puzzle even for today's boxers. But let's start the breakdown with his boxing stance. Boxing stance. What's interesting about Fury's stance is how he almost never brings his hands up. He is usually more comfortable working from a low guard using his range. Whether he's attacking forward or boxing moving backwards, his hands are almost always at a lower level. Fury likes to stay tall and use his height. When it comes to his feet positioning, he also puts himself in a more bladed position, making the target area the opponent can hit smaller. He is also comfortable boxing from both stances, not really like a switch hitter, but more to give his opponent different looks. Fury will fight entire rounds, sometimes even multiple, in a completely different stance. In one round, he will be in an orthodox stance, and in the next, he will fight the round entirely as a southpaw. We sometimes see boxers switch stances mid-combination and revert back to their original stance once they disengage. In the case of Fury, he actually sticks to the boxing stance and maintains it for long periods.
He's tired or frustrated.
Hammer trying to walk him down, get him into range. Team shot so far. Oh, that's a lovely left. Hammer keeping a tight guard. A lot of those punches not getting.
This is especially hard to deal with as the opponent has to be constantly readjusting their game to whichever stance they have to face. But now, let's get more in depth about Tyson Fury's skills. Skills. The jab. Now, the cons of a low guard are clear.
Sharp, top pick it. Oh!
But you may be thinking in what way it can benefit you.
Fury, dicks down.
A big reason for his lower guard has to do with the way he likes to throw his jab. He likes to throw his jab from the low guard and really use his range. When the jab is thrown from a lower position, the opponent has a harder time reading it, since the positioning of the lead hand is lower and out of the central vision. It also comes in an upward motion as compared to a traditional jab which is coming straight at you. Since a more traditional jab starts with the lead hand directly in front of your eyes, any sudden movement of the arm or shoulders can already alert you to what's coming. But in this case, as it's out of your central range of vision and in an upward motion, it makes it much more difficult to read and a much more effective weapon for Fury.
But even though dipping
on the way in, work quick feet side to side, there's no way.
A lot of times, he will throw so-called flicker jabs, focusing on volume rather than power. To execute a flicker jab, the lead hand has to remain very loose, hence why Fury keeps his hands real low, as from a high guard your shoulders and arms are tensed up.
Loosen it up.
Rather than focus on throwing the jab with power, the focus is on speed. And really snapping his wrist at the end of the punch to really create that flicker effect.
he could rush in Tyson.
In all of boxing. He is a colorful character. On targeting the body. While they're waiting for
Sometimes he's not even flicking the jab, and just uses it to touch his opponent's guard by bringing up his lead hand and extending his forearm just enough so it hits his opponent. He usually uses them to maintain his opponents in a high guard covering and to set up other punches.
Tough as Derek is,
This was especially effective in his fight against Derek Chisora. The flicker jabs were really hindering him from getting up close to Fury, so he tried bobbing and weaving his way into close range. But every time he would level change, Fury would meet him with an uppercut.
maybe
But he hasn't done that right.
Boo left one of his career best
yeah,
before.
coming, you know what I mean? So,
That fast jab of Fury also opens the window to other offensive opportunities.
Fury working on the jab.
Looping and straight shots. Now that Fury has set his pace with the jab, he lets his hands go even more.
isn't the soft puncher he thought it was.
Chance with that reach advantage as he's going in on him.
Since he's so active with the jab, the opponents instinctively bring their guard up to block the front of their face anytime Fury punches, or try to parry his attacks. As Fury created that pattern, they will anticipate a straight punch coming in, and his opponents will try to defend all incoming punches from that direction. And because you cannot cover both sides, front and lateral, the lateral side will be left uncovered, open to any looping shots from Fury.
Down with Wild. There you did see Fury corner and good footwork there from Fury. One punch knockout artist, Tyson.
Well, the Wilder fight, as I'm watching this,
Just a little bit too telegraphed.
I think it's reaching that stage. Is he going to be able to make?
He basically turns their high guard static, instead of the high guard being dynamic and making subtle changes to block different areas of the head. The opponents are too worried now about the jabs, which makes them forget about other areas.
That was over 10 years ago. And what does Fury, or do you favor the more? He seemed to beat.
Fury will simply throw a wider looping shot around their guard and hit them at the side of their head instead. This game of alternating between straight and looping shots can be played forever, and in some cases, he also likes to end with a power shot in a straight right after a lead hook.
It was Deontay Wilder
Right hand.
and win the first couple rounds.
Right hand down.
Body feints. What's interesting about Fury is how he will feint with his whole body. He will often use foot feints and feint with his lead hand at the same time, to sell a more realistic feint and get more reactions from his opponents.
Come in. I mean, that's important.
Fury fighting out.
It helps hide his jab better and keep his opponents guessing when he will really initiate an attack.
Get started and can't.
Now feints in general, or foot feints, are nothing new, but what's interesting about Fury is the rate at which he does them.
The instructions, and that's important. Yeah, happy to rely on boxing skills so far. We've not seen Fury really trying to unload big punches. I just wonder whether he might be looking to step it up before too long. Yeah,
He will feint almost just as much as he punches, so he is always getting his opponents to work for free and getting reactions out of him.
Put Fury under any real into the little bit of a gunfight with him.
Inside and out, and that's what helps give you.
Defensive game. Even though Fury has an incredible height in 6'7" and a reach advantage in almost all his fights, his defensive game is solid all around, not just from the outside, but also in mid-range.
Staying cool and calm, and as he did then, he's looking for the shot. He's not coming, he hasn't come in here, he's looking for the one punch.
Acting as the scorer for this contest, opts him in any way as yet, Barry.
Well, it's the movement of Fury. He'll give.
And he looks like he's just warming into it. Perfect.
Now being that Fury is such a tall opponent, most try to close the gap and fight him on the inside, but despite Fury's size, he still remains to be one of the slickest guys at heavyweight and has great footwork and distance control to keep the fight on the outside.
I think he wants to lean back, want to take a step back when Hammer comes forward.
It's not getting into position to land big shots. He tried there, but it was...
Because sometimes being so tall can be a curse because you had a bigger target to hit.
His long arms also allow him to easily pin and keep the opponent in place, hindering them from getting in too close as well, while getting them to cover.
His jab
jab.
He was using the jab.
Steve's almost done. Here, look at this. Arms will never come.
What's impressive about someone as big as Fury is his slick head movement. Fury's defense is built upon his great reactive abilities.
But it was all an arm shot, and it was...
Instead of trying to use his hands to block, he banks on moving out of the way, evading any incoming shots.
Animated advice. You put here across.
He also shows great awareness of the distance and is able to pull off head rolls and move his head just the necessary amount to make his opponents miss. The only time he ever really blocks a punch is when the opponent throws it to the body. This is also another reason as to why he keeps his hands down so low. This also helps with his head movement. Since his body is always well guarded, most of his opponents won't bother throwing so many body shots. Instead, they'll go for Fury's head, which he is already anticipating.
Problems to Fury, and of course he's
However, Fury also has a solid clinch game and knows how to use it when he needs to.
Directing his movements, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because of Fury's size advantage over most of the heavyweights, he can also use his clinch offensively.
Possible for you.
Yeah,
because my hand here. I want to step back, same. My control. You see? Threshold, look. Push me. Boom, push. You know? Impossible for you.
And he just caught Steve cutting in with a nice right hand there, and Steve's got it.
Not really hurting his opponent, but tire him out.
But this is where he needs to beat the work. And doing Tyson doing what you said he was going to do, just leaning on him, using all that weight.
Whenever he clinches up with an opponent, he puts his body on top of them, capitalizing on his weight and strength advantage to drain his opponent. Kronk Style. Now, it is also interesting to take a look at the change of style in Tyson Fury since he joined Sugar Hill. While Fury already had a skillful game, we could see an evident change in his approach from the first Wilder fight to the next ones. When taking a look at Kronk's most renowned champions, we can see certain similarities in styles and approaches. To put it simply, the Kronk style of boxing is forward aggression combined with basic fundamentals and making emphasis on an active and strong jab. Thomas Hearns, Gerald McClellan, Vladimir Klitschko, Lennox Lewis all had active and powerful jabs. There is also a big emphasis on going for the knockout.
Well, those two fighters are put into the ring to settle something, settle who's the best, right? Well, if they can't settle it in the amount of time, then what do you have? You got the judges to decide. Why not take care of it yourself? That's the attitude.
And that is exactly the change in style that was seen in Fury's next fights since partnering with Sugar Hill. No longer was Fury the one backing up now and trying to move around the ring against Wilder. This time, Fury became the aggressor and was constantly walking Wilder down. Fury actually fought like the bigger man that time around and did not let Wilder dictate the pace of the fight. His clinching game was now used more offensively. Instead of passively waiting for the referee to break the clinch, he would use it to drain Wilder and use his size and weight. But as mentioned, what really makes the Kronk style is that stiff jab which Fury started utilising. This time, he used it with more intention, not as much as a setup, but to really hurt the opponent.
He is a colorful character. Formerly had 40. They're battling to jab upstairs. But the 34 years of...
A big part of the Kronk's approach is going after the knockout, and that active jab is usually backed up by a powerful straight right, which we saw Fury use more and more often behind that jab.
By Fury against Ali. This would be the biggest win. All right.
So much was made in the build-up of the...
Stay away from the ropes.
He does not look
right hand.
But now that we have taken a look at his best skills, let's take a look at his flaws. Flaws. While Fury shows a really complete defensive game, his defense is sometimes too reliant on his reactive abilities. Granted, he does have good reactions that allow him to use his head movement to get away from danger. He has also been caught by many punches that otherwise would have been blocked with a responsible guard.
First trying to coin the counter box. Fury. Oh, he's knocked down. Even more aggressive. Coming in. Round 3 in the second round by Steve Cunningham.
He's got a massive opportunity here.
Yeah, he needs to be feinting.
He has also shown a lack of counters. He is so good at making guys miss, but fails to capitalise at most times. A good example of this is when he fought Pianeta. He made him miss so many times when he was at the counter, but after dodging these punches, he didn't answer back with anything. And while he has fast feet, his hands are a little bit slow, so reaching an agile guy like Usyk may be a difficult task for him. But still, he's been one of the most dominant heavyweights in boxing, now with a more aggressive and physical style, but keeping fundamental and polished skills that make him an even more dangerous heavyweight. But now, we would love to know your opinion on the comments. Do you see any other skills or flaws in Tyson Fury? Let us know, and if you like this video, you can find more on our channel. And to your left, we have chosen a video that we thought you may like.